So the story I share with people about what happened with Kris at Adams Camp to kind of illustrate my passion for this work is, they were at Adams Camp, there were 4 therapists, a speech therapist, 2 speech therapists, an occupational therapist, and a music therapist. And Kris really connected with the music therapist there. Now, all through Kris's life, he was nonverbal, so we would work on him being able to communicate in some way. And one of the things we did was we made up signs for, I knew some sign, but I'm not proficient in sign. But we made up signs for songs he would like to sing, and he'd love to swing. And so when he was on the swing, we'd stop it and ask him if he wanted more. That was actually my daughter Chelsea's first word in sign, when she wanted more food. So anyways, probably from about the time that Kris was 2 until he was, until we were at Adams Camp, we would encourage him to sign. And so we'd stop the swing and we'd ask him if he'd want more. He loved to sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And when we would encourage him to sign, do you want more? Do you want more? What he would do was to put his hands out for us to do it for him. And we probably did that almost every day of Kris's life from around the time, somewhere between when he was 2 and 3 up until he was about 5.5 when we were at Adams Camp. And one of the therapist, the music therapist, Jenny, who worked with Kris at Adams Camp, came back one day and she said, that he had signed. And I hadn't seen it yet. And so I was like, well, what do you mean? Are you like putting your hands and making him do it or what? And so I hadn't seen it. And the last day of the last hour that we were at camp, they invited the families to come and be part of a little music group. And they sang a little thing about each child. And when they got to Kris playing, they talked about him playing music with Jenny. And I remember that Kris stood up and we were in a little bit of a circle, and he looked right at me. And his chest was just puffing up, and he was breathing really heavy, and his eyes locked right into mine, and they sang about him playing music with Jenny. And Kris just stood up and looked at me with this so proud look on his face about like, look what I can frickin' do. And for anyone who has a child, or who has had a child who couldn't speak, it's just amazing. And so with my work at Kris's camp and my work through graduate school, I tried to understand what was it in that week that touched Kris and supported him enough for him to be able to communicate. For the next video in this series, I'm going to talk about developmental dyspraxia and the research that's been done and how it relates to Kris signing, and how it plays out specifically in persons with autism.